Okay, we're holding now Ois in the middle of Ois. Hey, we and moving. Last thing that the Rebbe was asking is that we're saying that there's three levels of Chayas. You have the level of Keach, Eid, and Chayas. There's a fourth level of shame as well, of a name. So how come, or how is it possible that we're saying that Zatam Chayas Kulam is going only on the Eid and the Chayas? So the Rebbe says, it's more so not understood. What it's known that Eid, Valderaz Chayas, also it's Eid and Chayas, and shame are Shnei Havchim, are two polar opposites. Eid and Chayas is the level of revelation. Shame shame is concealment. The idea of Gilei is dafka by light. Is Gilei. As we know, is always Me'ein Hamar, or the source. Idea and through the you're able to understand some of the Mar. For example, let's say the light of a candle, the light of a torch, the light of the moon, the light of the sun. So the difference between the light of, let's say, the avuka, that shows on the mer. Shaken b'shem, however, a name, a name, it's impossible to know the essence of a person. You have many people that are called by the same name, and we call makom in dim a person's intellect, a person's capabilities, they're very different. You can have two people with the same name, and they have two different capabilities, two different seichels, etc. So obviously a name does not show in the essence. More so. Not only that, but also the name, which is giving the chayis to that thing, is also behelim. This that Hashem praised Adam Rishon by calling each nivra by its name, because Adam Rishon knew the source and the chayis of every nivra. So the Rebbe says, if a name is meir in a revealed way, just like Eid, what's the big deal? What's the great chachma and this that he knew? So it must be it must be that the name is also behelim. Also, what Adam Rishon says that to you called Adnai because you're Adon Chol Yisechem. What did Hashem mean by saying? Why did Hashem have to praise him? Is a raya because the name is Behelim. So the Rebbe says, V'yishleimer, you could say, this that a name is Behelim, Shazau Gama Shahu V'shar Yichud V'munah V'shem Arizal, Shgam Dem Mamish K'mei Avonim, Yishpinas Nefesh V'chayis V'ruchnis. That even in the level of Daimim, the inanimate, the lowest level of the Daimim Tzimei Medaber, so you have the level of Nefesh V'chayis V'ruchnis. Shikavanasi V'Daimim Mamish. Kavan is Mamish and Daim. Higam V'chinas Daim V'ruchnis. It doesn't only mean in Daim and Mamish, but also V'ruchnis. The Hine, what does that mean? Calling Ibrahim K'meishem inside Etzem Mohuzam, Maram Megalam S'achayis L'kishavim. So, all the Nivraim inside the Etzem Mohuz shows and it reveals the Chayis L'ki that's in it. What does that mean? Hainu Shanivraim Asm Einum De'alin Zagin She'ishmem Chayis L'kis. They themselves say that they have a vitality of godliness that's giving them chayis. It's known that every nivra gives shir to Hashem. But there's so much concealment, so you have nivraim which are dim. They don't feel, they cannot say the chayis aliki. And this, what he says, that even in Daimim Mamish and nivraim shem k'nas daimim, they also have the nefesh and the chayis and ruknis. From the continuation, he explains the chayis of all the nivraim is from the names that they're called. Hainu Shashem Hu Kinas Helam. The name is Helam. But the continuation, the Rebbe explains, this comes and actually gives chayes to every nivra is the Eder Liki, Eder Daikesh, which is the level of revelation. The Alter Rebbe says over there, the Ora, Makav, B'chol Nivraim, it's an Amenasim, but there's a light of a light from Kav that comes in all the Nivraim and creates that thing. So this is stressed, the idea of revelation. This that Kav creates Yeshmayin. Even though Yeshmayin only comes from Atmos, because Kav comes from Ein Seif, we say move on. It must be all this level. Doesn't matter what level it is Kainam Inyan. The idea of revelation. So we see that the chayis that comes into every nivra comes from the level of gilei. Most of the var, Hamshachalula. Shabachayis may renimshach gam madregas yesed tachtanes yeseshol. Fidig explains that these madregas come into the lowest levels. Like David Melech says, if I go up to heaven, you're there, and if I go down, you're also there. The revelation of the chayis of the key is not only in the Shemayim, Shemayim tells over the glory of Hashem, even in the Sheil of the Chayis, it's also Begilei. Like he continues there, every person is able to know this kind of. What's the explanation? So the Cheda, if we're saying that every nivra gets his chayes from Eid, Gilei, so what's the advantage of a shame? So he says that there's an advantage of shame over Eid. It says, the Marash says from the Medrash that Hashem went 500 years to acquire a name, which is shame daika. The source of shame is higher than Eid. Even though Eid is David B'Meir, it's only an Aram. Shame, however, name, even though it's separated and it's in the way of Helam, it's mushish from the Etzem. That's why a name can be mamshech, the essence. And you see this by a person who never fainted. He doesn't have chayis, he only has etzem. Through calling him his name, you're able to bring him back. Because through calling a person's name, you're able to be mamshech etzem. We find even more. That even by a name, by a specific name, you're able to be mamshech the shadish and makar v'atzmi. Kumuvor b'teida eid, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Teida Eir, shadish kerem shadam b'shem chacham v'chassid. Through one calling a person, let's say you're a chacham or you're a chassid, so mamshech m'sakech chacham v'chassid shalem me'alam atzmi. You're able to be mamshech the chacham and chassid me'alam adar zeh u'lemayla. Also the me'alam shadish kerem b'esis bar b'shem chacham v'chassid. Through calling a person chacham v'chassid me'erim shi'atzel eid v'chacham v'chassid. You're able to draw down the Eid and Chacham Chesed, Ashlam Fnei Abrila, Chacham Chesed B'Helam, even though the Bria was not, even though beforehand there was no Chacham and Chesed there. From the Kriya Shemus Magas, down the Mailam Spheres. That's why we find sometimes that the level of names reach even to higher than Spheres. Allah has come and again Shem Adam by a person, Reuben Shem Shalamali Yisem Hashem Chacham Chesed. Right, so sometimes a person you call him a chacham a chassid, so that's just bringing out his tchunas. But if you want to know the real essence of a person, that's sometimes you're calling his name that comes out. Through calling his name, you're able to mapshah etzem. Please move on. The key is shalom nivroim who gam k'nas shem kavur b'shar yichud amuna afshar shem k'nas halam. Now we can understand why the chayes of the key comes from name, even though a name is behelam, because there's a mila of name over so even though a is gilei and there's it's me'in amur, but it's still only a order. Because again, chayes the b'chinas eish b'chol nivroim nitzam v'nasim shenis lo kach v'rak b'chinas eish v'akav. Even a kav go for rak order you're only getting mamash order even though it comes from kav. So ma'al chayes b'chinas shem she needs them again b'atzam. This is the ma'al of a name which you come to the essence.